Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here's a jazz square.
I think the kids at Winston really connect well with each other because we all know that there is something, it's not that something's wrong with us, that there's always something a little different about us. Like whether it's that my friend Owen has Asperger's and I figure out ways to connect with him since I have ADHD, we all have a little something different. And to break through and try to get to know somebody is just amazing. We all know there is something up with us, whether it's a learning difference or whether it's actually like a disability. I hate that word. We all just know that there's something with us, and we accept that about ourselves and we accept that about others.
One of the best things about the people here is that they're not just gonna tell you how it's done, they're gonna show you how it's done and let you do it yourself. And I think that enabled me to actually understand myself, because if I messed up one time, I could say, oh, I see where I went wrong, do it again, and then I get it right. Or do it a second time or a third time, and I don't give up until I get it. And eventually, I get it.
The difference between like education and communication, the education and understanding. You know, when I say to a student 3 + 3 is, and the student says 7, then from an educational standpoint, I need to explain that that's really 6. But in communication, I need to really understand where the 7 came from. And what does that say, and what should my next question be? My next question shouldn't be, you know, like, do you know what a 6, I mean, my next question has to be to find out where the 7 came from, not to just explain that it's supposed to be a 6. And it really allows, the Winston is the opportunity to do that, to find out where the student needs to begin, and then just go from there.
Look at the opening question. What does the very first question say? Who made the world? Who made the world? Right? So, what is that question about?
Like, I'm not sure if she's like asking herself this question or if she's asking like God and sending these questions.
On Wednesdays, we have just a standalone unit, and the unit is called Beauty and Language. And it's just an opportunity for students for whom words are not terribly pleasant to begin to explore the pleasantness of language. Some of that is philosophy, some of that is writing, some of that is poetry. I really don't know what it's like to live a life where words are not the primary way that I understand the world. And yet that is Mateo's world. Mateo's world does not primarily come through language. It comes through relationships, it comes through images, it comes through pictures, it comes through motion.
I think it's important for Winston teachers to be experts in learning problems because I think it will make the students feel like they have a better understanding also. Not only the teachers know, because if they know, then I think the students would like to actually have a better understanding of what's really their problem.
So she talks about
I think that's what Mr. Lay kind of gave to us. When he broke down what it means to be dyslexic, what goes on in your brain, why it's different. I think they kind of gave us an idea of okay, this is how everything's wired up there and how everything works. And I think it gave us a better understanding, and it made us just feel better in general. Just knowing what he knows about us, because he knows probably more about us than we know about ourselves.
So please help us.
Imagining what some students' lives would be like without Winston it's actually something we talk a lot about. I was talking to one student, I was asking him questions. I asked him why Winston was different, and he said it was because teachers don't give up. And it's really true, and I think so many of our kids feel like people have given up on them. And, can't imagine what their lives would be like because, they really need to know that we support them.
I think I was walking between buildings one day, right after I had a decoding class, and I looked at a puddle of water that was on the ground, and I saw my reflection in it. And I think it was that moment I really stopped and thought about the class that I was just in, what I was learning, and how much easier it was now. Because when I first came and I started doing decoding, started doing reading classes, it's not easy. Each hour felt like 5. And I realized how fast it was speeding away, how fast each class was going now, and how much I was absorbing and learning, and it only felt like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And I think it was that moment that I realized, I can do this. This isn't as hard as it used to be. I gotta keep working, but I can do this.
182 minus. No, you switch.
So if I think about teaching Catherine in a traditional setting versus what we do here at Winston Prep, it seems completely unfair that Catherine would have to learn in the kind of environment where she's expected to conform to something that she was never meant to be. And honestly, students like Catherine, who may for the rest of their lives struggle with certain areas of academics, that is not as important as that life lesson of resiliency that we talk about so much at Winston Prep. You know, if you don't remember, you know, the equation for a math problem, you can always look it up. If you don't know how to be a human being, where are you going to look it up? The way you know about how to be a human being is by living your life and understanding who you are.
Everything together and did it that way.
Every day there's something new that, you know, either a breakthrough that a student makes or something that's unexpectedly hard, or the expertise of a colleague approaching a subject in a way that you'd never thought to. So I think really on a daily basis, I come away thinking, gosh, I learned something new today. And after almost 10 years thinking I'm, you know, somewhat of an expert, that's a pretty exciting thing, that you're never done learning, you're never done expanding and exploring.
I think being at Winston has required me to be a very different kind of educator than I would have become elsewhere. Having the freedom to really think about what does this student really struggle with, not just what's the diagnoses say, but being able to press past the diagnoses and then to begin to create a classroom and an environment and a curriculum and a school that begins to meet that student where they are. There's just really nothing like it in the educational world. What would it be like if every kid had this kind of experience? What would it be like if every student that came to school every day felt like this is where they actually wanted to be, that vacation was not really what they wanted to do. They really just liked school. They liked being in a community where they felt welcomed and understood. They liked being with adults who were intelligent, who were loving, who were respectful. It just changes a kid's life.
Winston means to me not a school that I have to go to every day. It's a family that I am excited to see. And sometimes I am just tired and I would like to have a day off sometimes. But I love it here.